Hey, what's up, everybody? Sarah here. I'm making a video about low risk, low sales-ish ways to market yourself and your business in response to other videos I've made where people seem to be wanting more of this information. So today I'm going to talk about the 3-step process. I call it the OATS process: observation, assessment, and 2 sentences. The 2 sentences are the 3rd step that people can use if they hate marketing but still want to market their businesses. So I just want to first start by saying that a lot of you have built your businesses through relationships with a center of influence or word of mouth marketing. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, if that has worked, then why not continue doing it? However, what I've seen is that a lot of times this can be very passive, and in a bad economy, or at a time when there's not a lot of affluence in certain markets, this can dry up. So if you don't have control over who you're talking to or your ability to get in front of more people and tell them about your ideas and your business, then that can make it pretty tough. The other thing I've seen is that sometimes people have a certain client base that they don't want, like they want to move up market and call on wealthier clients or clients with more means, or maybe they just like have a certain amount of clients and they want to get more. They have a client concentration, like they have a low amount of clients, but a thriving business, like you can have a very good business just having a few very high quality clients that pay you a lot of money. However, that does create a risk because there's a concentration there. So it's just a good idea if you're going to be in business. It absolutely is a battlefield. And even if it hasn't been too tough to get clients before, because it's taking care of itself, it's never a bad idea to gain a little bit more control over sales and marketing. Now, a lot of people say though, like they don't want to be a salesperson, they don't want to be too salesy, because a lot of times sales and marketing are associated with pushiness or interrupting or just being obnoxious or being like a little bit selfish or greedy or whatever. So the first thing I want to say is that you could get over that by using a process like the one that I'm about to describe. So the first step in the OATS process is observation. This could be like, maybe if you are going into your circles and trying to find people that could potentially be clients, or maybe you've gotten a meeting with somebody, or maybe you want to get a meeting with somebody that's a business contact, but you haven't been able to yet. So the first step is observation. Now, I want to just highlight that observation is not just observing what they say, but it's actually observing their body language as well. So you want to look at this person and really study what are the things that seem to make them anxious if you've ever had conversations with them. Body language that shows anxiety, a lot of times it shows right here. Anxiety can show in the forehead. It also shows in the jaw. People clench their jaw or grit their teeth a lot of times. Patterns of breathing, what people are doing with their feet, if they're fidgeting. There are a lot of signs of negative or tense body language, and you should absolutely look for this, because you should know when you're talking to somebody, maybe you're saying something that is making them uneasy. If they're open to you, then they'll express certain positive signs of body language as well, such as eyebrows up. Eyebrows down is negative. Eyebrows up is a positive response. So just watch their body language whenever you're talking to them, but especially like watch your language, watch what they do and what they say, and just observe them and figure out, is this really going to be a good candidate for my services? Because qualifying them that way can avoid a lot of unwanted pitches that go flying at people. And I think the biggest complaint people have about sales and marketing when they're on the receiving end of it is that it was just unwarranted and random and a nuisance and noise. So you can cut a lot of that out and avoid making a nuisance out of yourself by what I just described, observing. The second thing is think to yourself. You have to do the A phase in OATS, which is assessment. Is this person really going to be a good candidate for my services? And if so, what would be the best way to position this to them. So, maybe when you're talking to somebody, it could be something, that you kind of mention, or you drop little hints, or you kind of mention it a little bit and just see how they respond. But you definitely want to get some feedback from them as to whether or not they would be open to the idea of working with you. And that's really important, because I'm going to get to the final phase, which is the third phase, which is 2 sentences. So, for example, based upon what you observe and what you assess about them, which is essentially like qualifying them, right? Excuse me. You should then say 2 sentences and then stop talking. Okay. A lot of times, what people don't like about marketing is that when people grandstand and go on and pound their chests and try to just make it all about them, a very humble way to market to somebody is just to say 2 sentences and then shut your mouth. So, for example, you could say something like this: Mary, I've noticed that a lot of people like you, homeowners in our area, are experiencing cost overruns due to high heating bills. Would you be open to discussing a possible solution that I have, or is this something that's completely out of the question? And then shut up, okay? What I like about the 2 sentence rule is that one of them should be like a kind of proposal or a statement about something, and then the second sentence is a humbling sentence. It could be something like asking them a question, or it could even be like a little self-deprecating. You could be like, Mary, I know that a lot of homeowners in our area are experiencing really high electric bills, really high, heating bills this winter. Are you open to hearing about a solution, or have you had enough from, saps like me that try to talk to you about stuff and that, are like going to try to pitch you something? Even that might work a little bit better than, you know, just maybe like invoking a little bit of humor might work as well, might work well too. So basically, whatever you say, keep it to 2 sentences and have the second sentence be a question, and then shut up and let them talk. So what you want to do is you want to give them a way out of it. Mary, I've noticed that many people with children who are about to go to college have really enjoyed my 529 plan advice. I read a newsletter about this and was wondering if I could include you on it, and it's no big deal if not. And then just look and see what they say. So here you're just giving them a way out. Here's another way you could give them a way out. Mary, my newsletter is really useful to parents that have kids that are going to college. Would you like to be included, or have you already got this covered from maybe another financial advisor that you're dealing with? So here, this is a little bit subtle, but what you're doing is you're actually asking Mary to give you information, because the way that she would respond to that would be something like this. She may say, well, thank you, I'm not interested because I already have a financial advisor. In which case, you now saved yourself from being embarrassing and going through the whole pitch. Although it's still a little bit of a sting, it's going to sting a little bit, but it's not the whole full-fledged pitch where you said to her, Mary, I know you have college-age kids, and I'd like to sit down and discuss with you how to use 529 plans to send them to college, because you haven't put it out there as much. All you've offered is a newsletter, which ostensibly would be of more benefit to her than to you. So you see what I'm saying? In the 2 sentence rule, you kind of want to flirt a little bit, so to speak, so that, instead of putting the whole asking the person out on a date, you want to flirt a little bit, because you're just not making yourself as vulnerable to rejection. You're not putting yourself out there in a full pitch where they're going to feel pitched to. And it's easy enough to let that just fritter away without having long-term consequences of oh, what a jerk, she tried to get me on her newsletter list. No one's really even going to remember that. And especially if you actually, if you get a no and then you don't bother them about it again, then you know that, you know, you know the relationship's probably going to pretty much be okay. So it's a pretty low risk way to do it. Um, the point of the 2 cent, I mean, maybe you want to be a little bit more assertive than that, but keep in mind that the more risk you take, the more you would hazard possibly coming across as more of a marketing person. And I'm making this video for those of you that don't like to be salesy, so to speak. So that's my advice. Use the oats process, observe the person, assess if they would really be a good candidate and what the proper plan of approach is, and really put a lot of thought into the assessment phase using the observations that you've made. And then third, when you do ask or bring up the topic of working together, do it in 2 sentences, keep it humble, ask a question or make a self-deprecating joke, and leave it at that. Listen to what they say. And no matter what, at that point, don't put a whole big sales pitch on until you know for sure that yes, they are interested and they're giving you the total green light to then move forward, because at that point, they are a qualified prospect. And like I said, a lot of times people don't like marketing because they feel like people aren't going to want to hear what I have to say. And that should take away a lot of the anxiety for you. And it'll be better for them too. It'll be better for your business, but it'll also be better for the people around you too, because they won't be getting unwanted pitches. So just be a little bit thoughtful, use the oats process, and you should be okay. But comment below if you have any questions. And thanks for watching.